On October the 31st, 1517, Martin Luther posted 95 big questions which he believed faced the church of his day to a local church door in Wittenberg, Germany. 500 years later, I decided to post 95 new questions, one a week, to the web, questions which I believe the church must face in the 21st century. From the picture of Jesus that's presented by whole sections of our media, not to mention sometimes by the church, it's all too easy to reach the conclusion that the Christian story is broken. But the way I see it, the teaching of Jesus is instead like a fabulous but long buried treasure. Although it's encrusted in debris, tarnished and discoloured by neglect, and half buried in mud, if you clean away the dirt and the muck, what you're holding is beautiful. It's priceless, as valuable today as it ever was. As we've seen over the last few weeks, Jesus' life and example make it clear that rather than living by endless rules, taking them at face value and then mindlessly applying them without any thought of their original context or purpose, he constantly sought to demonstrate that what the God of creation really wants is for people to live within the spirit rather than the letter of the law. Love God with all your heart and soul and mind, and love your neighbour as yourself. Allow yourself to be guided by these two great principles he taught. Every parent understands exactly this principle. Children begin life with a series of hard, fast and necessary rules. Never speak to strangers. Don't cross the road on your own. Don't play with matches. No staying up past bedtime. But of course, all adults need to be able to speak to strangers, cross the road without a companion, use matches, and learn how to balance getting a regular 8 hours sleep against work deadlines and social invitations. Rules are rarely enough. They're just too rigid to serve as life principles. That's why Paul, the apostle, in his letter to the followers of Jesus in Galatia explains, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and of course self-control. For him, this is the way to live, guided by a set of core principles or virtues, the ones that were so apparent in the life of Jesus. So as he concludes, against such things there is no law. Although in some situations rules might prove useful, they're never sufficient. What really matters are the principles that sit behind them. What Paul terms as the fruit of the Spirit, the character traits of Jesus, should also serve as a guide for all of Christ's followers, because they're the outworkings of love, constantly applicable to all of life because they flow directly from the story of the giver of life, the God of love. So Paul tells the Galatians that it's possible to sum up the whole of the Hebrew Bible's law in just one phrase: love your neighbour as yourself. Or, as he tells the church in Rome, whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. Whatever other commandments there may be, they're summed up in this one command, he says: love your neighbour as yourself. Over the years, as one response to this, Oasis Church in Waterloo, the local church that I lead, has developed a statement that we believe is one way of articulating who we aim to be. It says this: welcome to Oasis Church, Waterloo. Here we try to practice the generous gospel of Jesus Christ. This means you'll be mixing with seekers, searchers, and those who've been bruised, those who rejoice and those who mourn, those who are worn out, burnt out and exhausted, those for whom life is filled with purpose and with direction, those in fulfilling relationships, and those who have failed to love, been cheated in love, or who are afraid to receive love. Those of various nationalities and ethnicities, sexualities and gender identities. Those who are strong in their faith, and those who are besieged with questions and doubts. those rejected by other churches, and those who've found meaningful community here for the very first time. Those who have broken their promises, those who've been betrayed, those bowed down with burdens, those for whom the grip of alcohol or work or drugs or sex, money or unnamed powers is getting stronger, and those for whom that grip is loosening. And goodness knows how many others. Indeed, anyone like those Jesus chose to spend his time with. This is not a private club, but a public space open to all people of goodwill. And though we're not strong or vulnerable enough yet to show the unconditional love of God at all times, we hope we're moving in that direction. Welcome to Oasis Church Waterloo. We're working on it, guided by those words of Jesus. Love God and love your neighbour as yourself. So I'll leave you with some questions. What do you think of our statement? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? What does it lack? How would you change it, add to it, subtract from it, edit it for your local church?